from all over the world. Local consumer prices continue to hover at the 2% since rate in April.
Turning to robots to allow the visually impaired the chance to better indulge in cultural experiences. Like the number of hybrid cars are registered in South Korea has surpassed 2 million with this locally developed Yuri rocket.
아리랑 도시는 세계와 연결되어 문화를 창조했고 새로운 것을 받아들였다.
함께여서 우리는 더 자유롭고 더 멀리 갈 수 있어.
닫힌 문이 아니라 열린 질문으로
나에게 에이펙은
자유,
융합,
국제성,
다양성, 포용,
개발.
신라의 정신이 에이펙 2025로 이어집니다.
Hello and welcome to our morning edition of Arirang News. We begin with these stories making the headlines at this hour. South Korea is in recovery mode after torrential rain swept across the country last week, leaving at least 18 dead. President Lee Jae-myung called for special disaster zones to be designated quickly. People in South Korea are now able to sign up for government stimulus vouchers. Who can sign up and how much can they receive? We answer the questions. Japan's upper house election results are rolling in. Prime Minister Shigeru Ichiba and the ruling coalition look to have lost the majority. Over a dozen people have been killed and 9 others are missing following heavy rain and landslides across the country. President Lee Jae-myung has called on the government to find ways to swiftly designate areas hit hard as special disaster zones. Our Lee Seung-jae starts us off.
18 people have been killed and 9 others are missing after heavy rain across South Korea beginning last week and subsequent flooding and landslides. The latest figures were announced by the Ministry of the Interior and Safety and the National Fire Agency on Monday, with the southern county of Sancheong seeing the largest number of victims with 10 dead and 4 missing. Firefighting officials say rescue operations are still underway there. Torrential downpours have slammed the country since Wednesday, with Sancheong receiving an accumulated 793.5 millimeters of rain as of 5 p.m. Sunday. The other deaths occurred in Osan and Gapyeong in Gyeonggi-do Province, Seosan and Dangjin, Chungcheongnam-do Province, and the southwestern city of Gwangju. Since last week, authorities have reported 1,999 cases of flooded roads, soil loss, and destroyed public facilities, with 2,238 other cases of damage to private property. Over 14,000 people have been taken to shelters across 15 major cities and provinces, while 62 flights were canceled. In response to the nationwide damage, President Lee Jae-myung on Sunday instructed the government to find ways to swiftly designate the areas that were hit hardest as special disaster zones. Areas designated as special disaster zones are entitled to government support for damage recovery and victim relief. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
From today, people in South Korea started applying for their livelihood recovery consumption coupons. The coupons are being provided to all Korean citizens and some 350,000 non-Korean residents. They can generally only be spent at local businesses and are aimed at reviving consumer spending and boosting the sluggish domestic economy. For more about the application procedures and amount provided, our Park Jun-an has the details.
From 9 a.m. Monday, people can apply to receive the Livelihood Recovery Consumption Coupon, the first major economic stimulus under the Lee Jae-myung administration. The Ministry of the Interior and Safety announced that the applications will be open for approximately 8 weeks, from 9 a.m. today until 6 p.m. on September 12th, through both online and offline channels. The coupon program provides 150,000 Korean won, roughly $108 per recipient, with higher amounts for certain groups. 300,000 won will be given to low-income households and single-parent families, and 400,000 won for recipients of the basic livelihood subsidy. Residents from areas outside of Seoul, Incheon, and Gyeonggi-do province will receive an additional 30,000 won, while those living in one of the 84 designated rural areas at risk of depopulation will get an extra 50,000 won. People will receive coupons the day after application, and the coupons are valid until November 30th. The ministry says no coupons will be issued after the September 12th deadline, and those who don't apply will not receive any benefits. To prevent system overload and congestion, the first week from Monday through Friday will follow a day-of-the-week system based on the last digit of the applicant's birth year, 1 or 6 on Monday, 2 or 7 on Tuesday, 3 or 8 on Wednesday, 4 or 9 on Thursday, and 5 or 0 on Friday. Weekend applications are only available through online registration. Applicants can choose to receive coupons as credit debit cards, prepaid cards, or a community-based gift certificate, which can only be used at registered merchants in the applicant's municipality. Coupons can only be used at small businesses with annual sales of 3 billion won or less. They are not valid at large marts, corporate supermarkets, department stores, duty-free shops, online malls, delivery apps, entertainment, gambling, or cash equivalent businesses. Foreign residents who fall under certain categories can also receive the coupons. The eligible groups are permanent residents, marriage migrants, recognized refugees, those who are listed on a resident registration document that includes at least one Korean citizen, and those who are formerly on a Korean family registry document. To be eligible, they must be enrolled in the national health insurance system, either as a subscriber, dependent, or recipient. The government says the livelihood coupon should stimulate consumption and boost the local economy. Another smaller coupon will be distributed later this year. Park Junan, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung has withdrawn his nomination of Lee Jin-sook, the former president of Chungnam National University, as South Korea's education minister. Senior Secretary for Political Affairs Woo Sang-ho told reporters on Sunday that the decision was made after carefully listening to various opinions, including those shared during President Lee's meeting with the floor leader of the ruling Democratic Party and the main opposition People Power Party on Saturday. The nomination had come under fire after allegations of plagiarism in her academic work and controversy over sending her daughter abroad alone to study while still a middle school student, which is illegal under Korean law. Woo added that the government will search for a new candidate to lead the education ministry. Japan's ruling party coalition is certain to fail to maintain its majority in the upper house election held on Sunday. That's according to NHK on Monday, which said that the Liberal Democratic Party and its coalition partner Komeito are predicted to win 46 to 49 seats in the election, falling short of the 50 seats needed to maintain a majority. The Asahi Shimbun also reported that the ruling party coalition is certain to fail to maintain a majority. NHK also projected that the main opposition party, the Liberal Constitutional Democratic Party, would win 21 seats. Now, with those results in for Japan's upper house election, let's discuss what this means for Japan going forward, as well as for Seoul-Tokyo relations. For more on this, we have Professor Lee Jung of Gongju National University with us this morning. Professor, thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the basics about the election. What were the central issues that drove voters' behavior in this election? How did the candidates frame their positions on those concerns leading up to the election day?
Let me highlight 3 points, probably. Number 1 point is we need to just call back our memories, all this so-called corruption issues of LDP, all this money issue, money scandal, party ticket issue, it erupted end of the 2023. It actually contributed to the end of former Prime Minister, again, the Kishida's administration was ended up with this very, controversial issues, again, which is related to the so-called corruption issue of the LDP, the ruling party. But it was never actually solved clearly from Japanese people's point of view. And Prime Minister Ichiba Shigeru, the current, again, the sitting Prime Minister, he also did have some, even though it was a relatively speaking minor issue compared to the earlier those scandal, especially of the Abe faction. However, still, again, the LDP couldn't just clear up all this, again, the money corruption related issues, which really, I think, caused a big anger, a backlash from the Japanese people. So that's number one point. And number two is absolutely economy. Japan, of course, is not the only one who is suffering and struggling with the inflation. Even, of course, South Korea or any part of the world is basically fighting with the this inflation issue, which, of course, was COVID-19 pandemic was not the only cause. However, the pandemic was a big cause, and many countries are fighting with the inflation. So as long as, again, the inflation is really hitting, damaging every ordinary people's lives, again, the ruling party needed to, again, suggest more, again, tangible, constructive solution for that. However, I think the ruling party, they couldn't make it. And on the other hand, those, a relatively minor party, they suggested, for example, reducing tax issues or, expanding the welfare issue. So economy, I think, was another like a very big point for the Japanese voter. Number 3 point, very quickly, again, the so-called anti-globalism, which is, I think, deeply related to economic concerns. This, again, hit many countries in the world, and Japan was not the exception. That is why I think, for example, especially the Sanseto, which was a minor party, but this time they really showed a big jump. So Sanseto, like a pretty right-wing party, they just stimulated those kind of, again, the concerns among the public, again, the anti-globalism, anti-elitism, as it can be more like related to the xenophobia as well. So those 3 points I wanted to highlight.
Right, Professor. So you've touched on a number of aspects, but with that in mind, what does the outcome now of this election suggest about the direction now that Japan is heading, both politically and economically, in the coming months?
Well, we'll see, because the sitting prime minister, again, the Ichiba Shigeru, he said that, he and his party does have a responsibility for the nation, and he, wants to just complete is that responsibility, political responsibility, that indicates that, again, he doesn't want to, again, to come down from the prime minister position. However, as long as, again, the LDP and / Komeito, the former those ruling coalition, lost the majority, both houses, lower and upper. And if so, they need to have another like a kind of realignment. Of course, those opposition sides are pretty much fragmented. There is no really single one party who can comprehend every opposition party. So that is why we need to take a look into, how sustainable the Prime Minister Ichiba's position can be within the coming months. However, certainly, I want to really highlight this. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Sanseto, like minority party, they just showed a big victory that indicates that, again, as I mentioned, again, the many Japanese probably voters are very much unsatisfied with the way how the former ruling coalition, again LDP / Komeito, has been doing regarding any issue, political corruption issue, or like inflation, like economic issues, or even national identity / the foreign and defense policy as well. So Sanseto like party, they argue that Japan needs to rethink the rules and norms and value and order they have been adhered to ever since the defeat of the World War II, Pacific War. Again, this year is the very important year for anyone, probably 2025 for Korea as well. It's the 80th anniversary of our liberation, which means it's the 80th anniversary for them, again, the defeat of the Pacific War. So they probably trying to, I think, Japanese society is now really trying to rethink about the future of the Japan and the conventional wisdom they have been sticking to for the last 8 decades, I think.
Right, and speaking of rethinking after 80 years, now I want to narrow it down to Korea-Japan relationship. How might this election result influence the bilateral relationship, especially as the two leaders were making efforts to strengthen bilateral cooperation?
Sure. Overall, more consequently speaking, I remain pretty much optimistic about the bilateral relation or even trilateral cooperation among U.S., Korea, and Japan. The reason why I'm saying so is, again, look at the war. The 2 wars or more wars are going on. Again, the situations in Europe is not good, and situations in Middle East is even worse. So having had these two, again, the conflicts in the 2 regions, again, it's really difficult to deal with all this, defense issue. And additionally, we have now development in the military technology, for example, cyber issues or like drone attacks. So we do see many of those unconventional threats we have never seen before. So we need to deal with this non-conventional, new emerging threat as well. And of course, challenges from China, technologically, economically, and even politically, is not simple at all. So having had all this, conflicts and threats and challenges surrounding us, I think, again, the bilateral relationship will remain pretty much, again, the cooperative. However, at the same time, we need to be probably careful with the more like volatile issue, which related to the national identity of each country or their interpretation about their history. So again, the August 15 is a big day. I mean, for both countries. Again, again, I think we need to be careful about the coming, again, the months.
Right, Professor. Thank you so much for your insights. I'm afraid that's all the time we have, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you.
Now in K-pop news, a fresh new boy band, truly one of a kind, with all of its members coming from outside of South Korea, including North Korea. Our Park Gun-woo has Universe's story.
Alone, they're just individuals with different verses, but together, they create a story, a song, and a universe. That's how you could describe this brand new 5-piece K-pop group, Universe, which has 2 members who are North Korean defectors. It's extremely rare to see North Korean-born idol stars debut on the K-pop scene, which makes you wonder how they first got into K-pop.
I came across FX's La Cha music video when I was young and heard K-pop songs through USBs passed around secretly.
Coming to South Korea at a young age was already a dangerous journey, but their struggle didn't end there.
My beloved family were still in the north, and while coming here allowed me to finally dream, I still felt like the loneliest of the lonely. The biggest battle was with myself, a fight I kept losing, but just having our members by my side filled that emptiness and gave me strength.
Even language was a hurdle, especially for rap.
I naturally speak in a North Korean dialect, but when I rap, I train myself to turn it off. As for English, I started with the ABCs and kept practicing until it finally started to feel natural.
Other members, Asian Americans Kenny and Nathan, and Japanese Aito also faced their own challenges.
Hardest part about training was the cultural barrier, right? So there's a lot of getting used to that, and also sentence structures. So I had to learn how to shape my mind into a Korean person.
Well, I've never been away from family for the past 23 years of my life. There's a lot of adjustment to do. However, with the guys now and the staff and everyone, they're like my second families.
Despite their different backgrounds, they found common ground in pursuing their dreams through music.
With diversity being a factor in our group, we learned that, hey, everyone's story is important, everyone matters, and everyone deserves to be heard and deserves to be respected, despite wherever they come from.
They hope to be of comfort to others, and that very hope is what's guiding them toward their own dreams.
I had a time when I didn't even look up at the sky. Those hard times live in my lyrics now. To anyone watching us, even from the north, I want to say, dream.
5 different dreams in one universe. Universe is showing that K-pop no longer solely belongs to South Korea, but to those with dreams and passion, regardless of where they're from. 박건우, Arirang News.
Good morning, I'm Choi Ji-hee, and this is The World Now. Starting in Vietnam, a tourist boat capsized in Halong Bay on Saturday, leading to at least 38 deaths. The Wonder Sea, carrying 53 people, mostly Vietnamese families from Hanoi, capsized around 2 p.m. local time after encountering sudden fierce winds, heavy rain, and lightning. 10 people were rescued, including a 14-year-old boy who was pulled out from the hull 4 hours after the capsize. 5 people are still missing, and search and rescue efforts are still underway. The storm came on so quickly that passengers had little time to react, even though life vests were available. In the United States, 30 people were injured, 7 critically, when a vehicle drove into a crowd outside a music venue in East Hollywood, Los Angeles, in the early hours of Saturday. The driver, identified as 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez, was reportedly kicked out of the nightclub minutes before he drove his car into the crowd. Surveillance footage shows him mounting the sidewalk around 2 a.m., first hitting a taco stand, then a valet podium, and finally the waiting crowd. Ramirez was dragged from the wrecked vehicle, assaulted, and shot before being hospitalized. Authorities found no evidence indicating that the incident was linked to terrorism or driven by any criminal intentions beyond the driver's intoxicated state. Police are also searching for the man who shot Ramirez and fled the scene. On Sunday, a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck 144 kilometers east of Russia's Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky city. The tremors triggered tsunami alerts, which were later lifted. The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center and U.S. National Tsunami Center issued coastal warnings for Kamchatka, Hawaii, Guam, and America Samoa. Roughly 2 hours later, all alerts were officially downgraded and lifted.
There have been no reports of casualties or structural damage, and seismic activity has subsided. Authorities warn that the Kamchatka Peninsula remains a high-risk seismic zone.
We saw an incredible amount of rain nationwide last week, but with the rain wrapping up yesterday, it's all about getting prepared for the heat this week. Heat wave advisories are in place across some parts of the country, and we can expect these advisories to expand even further. With plenty of moisture in the air, strong, sudden heavy rain could fall at any time. Specifically today, expect heavy rain of 30 to 50 millimeters per hour to the southern parts of Korea. And by the afternoon, Seoul is expected to reach 31 degrees Celsius, Daejeon at 32, Gwangju topping out at 34 degrees. But feels like temperatures will be higher with that high humidity. We are looking at tropical nights as the heat builds up, and the daytime highs will soar to as high as 34 degrees Celsius here in the capital by Thursday, with a frequent chance of passing rain. So please stay hydrated and take care.
That's all we have for this morning. Arirang News will be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Thanks for watching.
Celebrates the 80th anniversary of liberation. A place filled with culture, history, and diverse experiences. This is the Independence Hall of Korea. Upholding the values of the independence movement, and together with the whole nation, we will make Korea great. The Independence Hall of Korea.
How to survive in Korea. Weddings. Step 0. Attire. As a guest, dress formal to business casual. Avoid wearing all white, shorts, or going topless. Step 1. Arrival time. Arrive 30 minutes prior to the wedding ceremony. Too many cars, too many halls, too many people. There are many twists and turns. Take pictures and shake hands. And write your name vertically, not horizontally, in the guest book. Step 2. Or, shibor. 50,000 won, 100,000 won, 150,000 won. Cash gifts are given in these units. Decide on the amount based on your relationship. Write your name vertically on the envelope. Step 3. Wedding etiquette. Fill up the front row. Guests have 3 duties to fulfill: clapping, cheering, and taking pictures. Step 4. Dining. Take off your jacket. This will be your seat from now on. Start with the not your everyday delicacies. Kobe-jjim. Yes. Bosa. Yes. Chili shrimps. Definitely yes. Kimbap. Yeah. Only if you can't live without it. No need to pile up food. You have more than one opportunity. Did you survive the wedding? Wait, did someone catch your eye? What are you waiting for? You're looking fine today.
its first debate over the weekend.
The economy is expected to expand 2.5% this year.
Boosting Korea's ties with its global partners on the sidelines of the Status UN summit.
It's a massive drone attack on Ukraine overnight on Monday and Tuesday.
Arirang.
We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Monday, July 21st here in Seoul. I'm Lee Jin-sook, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Ki-hoon.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. And Dong-hyuk's also with us.
Glad to be here.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Monday, and as we kick off another work week, we're taking a moment to shine a light on an important yet often overlooked topic. Just 1 week ago, South Korea marked North Korean Defectors Day, a day dedicated to recognizing the journey and resilience of those who made the difficult decision to leave the North and start anew here in the South. So to commemorate the occasion, we're joined by a very special guest who brings insight into this experience. So could you start by introducing yourself to our viewers?
Oh, sure. Hello, Sujin. Thanks for inviting me here. Great to be back. My name is Dong-hyuk, and I am a researcher at Sejong Institute, a think tank that researches foreign affairs and security issues and how those issues impact the Korean Peninsula. I also serve on the Policy Advisory Board at the Ministry of Unification.
So we look forward to hearing from you today about the insights you've gained through your research. So Ki-hoon, North Korean Defectors Day might be unfamiliar to some. Could you explain what this day is about?
Sure thing. So last Monday, which was July 14th, was North Korean Defectors Day, an official commemorative day observed here in South Korea. The South Korean government established this day last year to help people meaningfully embrace the slogan, North Korean defectors are beginning their North Korean defectors are the beginning of reunification, and to raise national awareness and support the integration of North Korean defectors into South Korean society. July 14 was chosen because it marks the date in 1997 when the Act on Protection and Settlement Support of North Korean Refugees was first enacted, symbolizing the beginning of institutional support.
So it sounds like what this act does is to provide a kind of legal framework for the protection, verification, as well as settlement support of North Korean defectors. So with that context in mind, it's worth taking a closer look at the reality. So Ki-hoon, how many people have defected to South Korea so far, and what does the current situation look like in terms of numbers or trends?
So in 2025, between January and March, a total of 38 North Korean defectors defected to South, more than half of them in their 20s and 30s. Last year, 236 defectors arrived, marking a 20% increase compared to the previous year. Now, during the 2010s, the number of annual arrivals had remained in the thousands, but dropped to the 200s in 2020 due to the spread of COVID-19. Furthermore, the relatively higher proportion of female North Korean defectors is attributed to several factors. One reason is that men are subject to stricter control and surveillance than women within North Korea. Additionally, women are considered to have an advantage in hiding their identity as defectors in foreign countries like China. And another reason is that North Korea has a strongly organization-based society, and men tend to have a stronger sense of affiliation and loyalty to these organizations than women, making them less likely to defect to the South.
It's quite notable that the majority of defectors are actually women, and it kind of suggests that gender-based differences that impact, have an influence on social mobility and organizational ties as well. And Dong-hyuk, for those who do manage to make it to South Korea, what routes are they taking to get here? Given the risks involved, I think many of our viewers will be curious to learn about the most common routes or methods that defectors are using today.
Sure. In recent years, most defectors arriving in South Korea are not the people who fled North Korea recently. Rather, they're individuals who have left the country a few years ago and have been living in countries like China, Laos, Thailand, and other third countries. And they often have no legal status and stable conditions. It's mainly due to the advanced surveillance system built in China-North Korea border, the facial recognition system, and higher resolution cameras, and that makes the traditional routes of crossing Yalu and Tumen River more difficult. However, there are rare and exceptional cases that sometimes happen that North Koreans directly travel to South Korea through DMZ, EC, Yellow Sea. Yeah.
It's quite interesting and kind of unexpected that they're not coming directly to Korea. Instead, they're spending years in like third countries, like you mentioned. So we've also seen a rise in defectors in their 20s and 30s. And what stands out about this younger generation? Are there any common traits or values they tend to share, Tong-yeol?
Sure. North Korean born after 1980 are often referred as 장마당 generation. They have experienced the collapse of their country's economy and the subsequent famine called the Arduous March. And during their fathers and mothers, the earlier generation, have depended on the state's distribution system, but this generation survived through informal market called 장마당, trading, working, and whatever it takes for them to earn money there. And this formative experience shaped their value of self-reliance rather than believing and depending on the state ideology. So while they may outwardly seem to conform to the regime, but sometimes they make incredible individual bold decisions for their prosperity and survival. We see they are the new driving force of North Korea's informal market, and we see this trend and traits in the young generation of defectors coming to Korea.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that these 장마당s are predominantly run by women, which also kind of ties with what Kyun said earlier because they're less under surveillance. So this is kind of interesting how the role that women are also playing in this. So once defectors arrive in South Korea, Kyun, what kind of support and systems are in place to help them adjust? And overall, how satisfied are they with their life here, both in terms of practical support and their sense of belonging?
North Korean defectors who enter South Korea undergo an investigation at a protection center, and once granted protection status, they receive 3 months of education at Hanawon, an affiliated organization of the Ministry of Unification. And at Hanawon, they receive training in financial literacy, Korean language, and job skills to help them adapt to life here in South Korea. And after completing the program, they're provided with rental housing and receive support for 5 years to help them build an independent life. Fortunately, according to a survey released last year, satisfaction with life in South Korea has been steadily increasing. And to give our viewers more detail, let's take a look at the screen. So life satisfaction of North Korean refugees in South Korea has been steadily increasing over the years, being 74% back in 2017, increasing to 80% in 2025, and this is according to Korea Hana Foundation. And the reasons they included freedom, economic stability, and income. Wages have continued to increase, narrowing the gap with the general South Korean population compared to the previous year, and the proportion of defectors with more than 3 years of continuous employment was also the highest. And this is quite interesting because many youngsters here, like South Korean youngsters, their employment retention rate is not that high, and they actually seek new jobs within a year or two. But seeing that North Korean defectors actually stay at a single job for at least 3 years is a very positive sign for the Korean job market as well.
That really puts things into perspective, but of course starting over in a completely new environment isn't without its difficulties. Tong-yeol, what are some of the most common challenges defectors face as they try to build a new life here, and what kind of support do you think is most needed to help them adapt in the long term?
Sure, I'd like to answer this question in 2 parts, economics and what goes beyond economics. First, economically, most North Korean defectors have difficulties, and especially young people. As Kyun mentioned, the satisfactory results have been increasing over the years, which is a great sign. But that doesn't mean that core problems are gone. Ministry of Unification said that over 20% of the North Korean defectors are long-term high risk in terms of economic security. And second, beyond economics, for many defectors, emotional weight of isolation and loneliness is heavier than economic struggle. Even those seen as a success story have a hard time sharing their pain, so unable to talk about their failure or even debt of a successful entrepreneur. There are many cases like this. So young defectors who come for a better life in South Korea, they need some kind of emotional support, friends that they can talk to, they can trust. So overcoming trauma and building a new life in South Korea, a humane, a real thing. So these kind of real human interaction is a key to not only a healing from their trauma, but integration into our society.
I think that was very well put, because people tend to just focus on kind of the economic side of it, but like you said, like true integration really comes from things that are not really part of the finances. And people, people not just in Korea also deal with feeling lonely, which is why I feel like, obviously, for obvious reasons, them coming to adjust a whole new environment means for them, they get impacted by that even more. So I think that's great that you highlighted that. And so to give a first-hand perspective, we'll be showing an interview we conducted with a North Korean defector, where she shares her personal thoughts and experiences. And this will take place right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Now we're going to hear from Jung So-yoon, who made the journey from North Korea to the South. In this video, she reflected on her experience of resettling in South Korea and shared some personal thoughts on life in both the North and South, as well as the kind of support defectors still need today. Let's take a look.
Hello, my name is So-yoon Jung. I left North Korea in 1998. I came to South Korea in 2002. With 10 family members. Currently, I work as a writer and also CEO of NGO UniPivot. I am also preparing my doctoral dissertation in North Korean studies. I arrived in 2002. The support system then was different from today, but there are still many similarities. I was a student when I arrived, so I attended elementary and middle school in South Korea. There were after-school programs for North Korean defectors. They helped me a lot. When I went to university, I received tuition support. The government also provides housing support. North Korean defectors can live in permanent rental housing until they become economically stable. There's job counseling too. Also vocational training and job placement services. But I found employment on my own after completing my master's degree. I think young people and older people are a little bit different. When I was in North Korea, there wasn't much information about South Korea, but things changed because of North Korea's economic crisis. Many people started leaving North Korea. People also began traveling to China for businesses. This opens up more ways to learn about South Korea. During my time there, I didn't know so much about South Korea was economically better than North Korea. I only learned this later when I went to China. I heard it through radio broadcast. Today, the situation is very different. South Korean contents has spread widely in North Korea. North Korean defectors also sent money to their families in North Korea. They also keep in touch with them. So they are telling about South Korea. So most North Koreans now know that South Korea is economically better, developed a lot. North Korean youth in their 20s and 30s are very interested about outside. Current research shows that many have watched South Korean movies. Their attitude towards unification remains very positive. I believe we need to change these kinds of thinking. North Korean defectors can play an important role in healing the trauma of division that we have. They can help restore our sense of being one people. They will serve as important bridges for our unified future. Supporting North Korean defectors isn't just a waste of money. It's not charity either. Those are people we should invest in as human resources. Our society needs them. Each of them will become resources for public diplomacy. They should be seen as assets that will make South Korea stronger in the future. Whether South Korean or North Korean defectors, I believe we need to work together. If the Republic of Korea become a place where everyone wants to live together harmoniously and happily, we will become a stronger Korea and also a Korea that can lead the world. Thank you.
So we just heard from a North Korean defector whose first-hand experiences provide us with a deeper understanding of the struggles, resilience, and hopes shared by many defectors. So to wrap up our discussion today, Kyun, what steps do we need to take to move forward towards lasting peace and reunification? And why is this so important?
I think the general society needs to become more accepting and inclusive to diversity. What we see on the news regarding North Korea can perhaps shape how we think, and most times it is politically motivated, referring to North Korea using strong words like provocation, missile threats, and so on and so forth. So our perception, especially the younger generation of North Korea, as a nation becomes framed as like a de facto nuclear state, always ready to attack our country and even other nations, including the US. However, when we get the chance to meet North Korean defectors in person, which I have actually here at Arirang, it can actually feel the same as meeting any other human being, like any other South Koreans or even foreigners you meet in Korea. So once we let our guard down and start to embrace others, I think South Korea as a country can become a more welcoming nation, not only to North Korean defectors, but other foreigners who actually seek to live here. And I'd like to just also mention what Tong-hyuk just mentioned about looking at North Korean defectors as just human beings. They've actually traveled a long distance to come to Korea. They're alone. They don't have any friends, let alone family members, and they feel very detached emotionally. And we talk about financial things, but that's also very important. But what's more important is for them to actually feel accepted and feeling part of this society. But it seems in reality we're not there yet, accepting North Korean defectors as just any other person who is willing to live in Korea. And I think we need to really embrace that as a society. If we don't, no matter how much financial support they actually receive, like with housing and all that stuff, I don't think it will really help them to adapt to this country and for them to really live a more satisfied life here in Korea. Even though we say 80% of them are very satisfied here in Korea, I don't think that's really the case, because if you actually get to interview them and talk to them and hear what all the struggles they go through, you'll be quite surprised, because those kind of things are not something that we actually experience, like not having friends, not having family members to talk to, and we sometimes take it for granted. So maybe looking at these kind of things, like the emotional, like the humane part, I think it will be able to accept more North Korean defectors moving forward.
Like you said, I think it's really important to not think of them as the other. And I think a key part of that is kind of like better understanding like their stories and how they're not so much different than us. Especially we're all Korean at the end of the day. And so really understanding them would help them kind of for us to reach true integration as well. And hopefully like media can also play a big role in this. So maybe more episodes like this or shows like this could also help raise more awareness. So what are your thoughts on this, Tong-yeong?
Sure. To wrap it up, at the national level, policies like this and the public engagement efforts need to be developed, and it needs to evolve. But at the same time, when, just like any other policy, when support is given to one group, others feel left out. In this case, for these policies to be sustainable, and especially the defectors, especially the young future generation of defectors, I think garnering the support of South Korean youth is indispensable. So they too feel very disadvantaged in today's society. So what this means is designing a solution that South and North Korean born youth can participate equally and have some kind of mutual ownership. And although their backgrounds are different, but they also share a similar sense of social burden, problems, such as economic difficulties, housing, low birth rate in the future, now really, and the gender, generational divides, you name it. But if these common problems require joint solutions, which also requires joint effort to work together, I think it can reduce the sense of the exclusivity, and also foster a sense of mutual ownership. So I think this shift in perspective can not only ease the negative perception on North Korean defectors, but also the matter of unification, and we can build some kind of partnership moving forward.
Right, like you said, like highlighting the similarities are really important, as well as I think one way to do it is to commemorate like this day as well. So are there any events that commemorate this event to highlight the new North Korean Defectors Day?
Sure, there are many events that commemorated this North Korea Defector Day, but one event that I really liked was, this happened last weekend. So right before the North Korean Defector Day, there was a 2-day exhibition at quakes, and I went there, and there were tons of people. For 2 days, there were almost 4,000 people.
Wow.
And the exhibitions were great, and actually it was really fun, and I hope other people can go there and experience it. But not only the exhibitors and organizations that hosted it, there are tons of public that went there. Not only the North Korea background people, but also South Koreans who are interested in these issues. And for the viewers of this program, I recommend that you go there and try to meet people, and you'll be surprised how fun they are, how fun these events are, and there are more to come.
I think having a space where people can actually meet these people and get to know them is also a way to lead, that will lead to true integration. So thank you for mentioning that as well. So days like North Korean Defectors Day remind us of all the resilience and determination of those who have made incredible journeys, as well as the ongoing challenges they face. Reminds us of the importance of awareness, support, and collective commitment as we work towards peace, unity, and a hopeful future for the Korean Peninsula. And we're also conducting a program survey which includes news generation to better meet our viewers' expectations. So please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the Arirang TV mobile app to share your valuable feedback. And by participating, you'll also have a chance to win Bluetooth earbuds and exclusive K-pop merchandise. And this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. A big thanks to Kyun.
Always a pleasure.
Have you, and Tongyeong.
Thank you
for joining us today. And to all our viewers, thanks for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.
Set the facts straight. Get Korea right. K-culture is sweeping the globe. K-pop, K-drama, K-movie, K-food, and even K-beauty. Korean cultural content is gaining more and more fans worldwide. It's indeed the golden age of K-culture. But with this growing interest comes an increase in misinformation about Korea. There's so much inaccurate information out there. Even AI can sometimes get it wrong. So, we must set things straight and correct all the misinformation. So here's the plan. The Voluntary Agency Network of Korea, VANK, and Arirang TV present the Get Korea Right project. Our goal is to provide accurate information on important keywords that come to mind when we think of Korea. Blatant errors and false claims that distort history. It's time to set the record straight, sharing the true history and culture of Korea while raising the national brand. Let's get started with Get Korea Right. Are you ready to join?
Arirang TV is conducting an overseas TV viewer survey to provide you with a better global broadcast service. Share your valuable feedback on the Arirang TV website www.arirang.com or mobile application. Survey participants will be selected at random to receive special gifts. 2025 Arirang Overseas TV Viewer Survey. We look forward to hearing from you.
Have you ever felt torn between what you want to do and what you have to do? Now, these days, instead of asking what's the most stable path, more and more people are asking, how can I live in a way that feels true to me? But surprisingly, many people say they don't even know what they truly want to do. Now, a recent neuroscientist explained that the reason is because people often choose their path without truly knowing themselves. And that's why the first thing we need is a process of understanding our emotions, personality, and talents. Hello, this is Culture Crunch's DJ Joel, and today on Worky Talkie, we're joined by someone who boldly makes a new choice in search of their own path. But before we meet them, we are going to listen to a song. This is 자유롭게 날아, or Fly to the Youth, featuring Uki by Nows.
하나둘씩 어깨도 힘이 늘어